Hi again. Thanks for joining me. Kiwi Codger here. And in this episode, we're heading off to Rangihoua. I went there in March 2017 and I found it to be quite a profound place. It's in the Bay of Islands. Now I've been to the Bay of Islands 10, maybe 15 times. And even back then I had an interest in history. And of course visited Paihia where I knew there was a mission station, and also Kerikeri where I knew there was a mission station. And but I'd never heard of Rangihoua in my travels there. So it doesn't surprise me. I went and visited it. It's a significant effort required to visit Rangihoua. Of course, in the old days, everyone got there by boat. Today, you have to get there by road, unless you've got a boat. So let's have a quick look at how to get there. So from Kerikeri, you head up to this road here, and at this point here, the road goes off into the wilderness there, and from about this point onwards, it becomes dirt road. So you're driving along a pretty reasonable sort of dirt road. You go for seems like a long time until you finally get to this car park, which is well marked, and this whole area has been turned into a national park. And from the car park down to the beach at Howie. So we have here in Rangihoua Bay, we have the Rangihoua Pa, which is where Ruatara and Te Pahi lived. And then down on the beach at the base of the Pa is the beach called Howie. And on the slopes of Howie is where the mission station was situated. So here where we're looking on that terraced area there is where the mission station and the houses were built. Obviously in those days it was a gradual slope. Those terracing has been made since. And in the background there you can see the wonderful Pa of Rangihoua. And we look out over Rangihoua Bay. Those islands out there are Te Pahi's Islands, what they call Te Pahi's Islands. And also as we come around here, just where this tree is coming into view now, is where a famous artist, Augustus Earle, painted this painting back in 1827. And as we look back up the beach of Howie and see the Pa in the background there, you can see little houses on the slopes there, which are the missionary houses. So a rather tranquil bay, very strategically positioned. So this was the land that the missionaries bought for their mission, and they bought it from the chief, Ruatara. Unfortunately, he was to die about 5 days after Marsden left to go back to Port Jackson. This was his Pa here, and you've got isn't it just absolutely wonderful the way it's terraced? And on the top you have the tihi, which is the uppermost part, which would have been occupied by Ruatara and his wives. And then sloping down you have the various villages, etc. Now, on that far knoll that was in that last picture, Augustus Earle also went over there, and he painted a view looking back towards the Rangihoua Pa, which you can see here. And Howie, the beach at Howie, is obscured by the actual Pa. So that second mound in the background there was where Augustus Earle sat to paint the previous painting. What a glorious outlook. Now once Ruatara had died, the mission station came under the protection of Hongihika, and you didn't mess with Hongihika. So they were quite safe there and well protected down on their little patch down there. This is another painting done by Augustus Earle, and this is virtually on the tihi, looking down the slopes towards the actual pataka there. The storage unit there is stopping us from seeing the little mission station there. I love the little fence on the right hand side. A little bit of health and safety there. It's rather cool. And this gives us a look of where that painting was on top of this area here. And then we go down the beach, down the spine of the cliff there to the Howie settlement. And it was down here that the first sermon was given. Marsden probably stood at the base there looking up, and here's someone's idea of what it possibly was like. They don't actually say where Marsden stood, but it is believed that he stood further down the beach, down by the beach, facing the congregation that was up on the banks. And this painting here, the guy with the military gear on is Ruatara. When he had been in visiting Sydney, when the active returned, the governor presented all of the chiefs that had come back, Hongihika, Korokoro and Tui, with military uniforms, which they wore for the first service. And after the service, the Europeans were going back to the ship because that was the only place where they could live. There was no houses for them at this stage. The Maori did an impromptu haka in celebration. I mean, that would have been just amazing, wouldn't it? Now, up the top, on the top layer, was where the first school was. A little to the right of that singular tree there. And Kendall's house was up there as well. Where the cross is was the King's house. That's called the Marsden cross there, in celebration of Marsden. And at the next slope up was the Hall's house. But just where we're going over now, this is where that long shed was that they built in Raupo, where they all had to live in for about a year and a half before they had finished building their houses. And we're heading up towards the school was right there. There am I on the right, to give you some idea of scale. Absolutely gorgeous place. Absolutely no one there. When I went there that day, I was the only one there, which is kind of sad, really. Often when I go to these places where history occurred, it's just me. We've got so much that's still in good shape from our history. The signs that they have on the paths are brilliant. I've photographed them to read later. Kind of affects you when you think of all the things that happened here. Anyway, I must away. Only read half of these signs on the way down, just to give you a feel of what you're going to see. On the way back, you'll need to stop often, so read the others then. Well, all that brought back a lot of fond memories of my trip back in 2017. Also, I'd recommend, if you go there, to take a bottle of water. That walk back up to the car park from Howie it's not a difficult walk. You just need to take your time, and a drink of water would have really gone down well then. So look, go and see the place. It's where it all started for European civilization in New Zealand. Well, that's it. Till next time. Take it easy.